A single touch lasting less than 3 seconds can create a surprisingly strong emotional response in a woman's mind. That is not just romance or imagination. It is psychology. Yet most men completely misunderstand this. They never learn which kinds of touch create comfort and connection, and which ones quietly destroy attraction before it even begins. Real connection is rarely built through perfect words alone. A mature woman has already heard compliments, sweet messages, and rehearsed conversations. What affects her more deeply is often something much simpler and more human. Intentional touch that feels calm, natural, and emotionally aware. The difference is that meaningful touch is never forced, careless, or performative. It communicates presence, warmth, safety, and attention without needing explanation. A man's touch often reveals more than his words ever could. The way he moves, the pressure he uses, the timing, and the emotional energy behind it all send signals instantly. One of the simplest examples is placing a gentle hand on the lower back while walking together. Done softly and naturally, it creates a feeling of guidance and protection rather than control. That area is emotionally sensitive because it makes a woman feel noticed and cared for when the gesture feels calm and grounded. The problem is that many men rush it, make it awkward, or use too much force, which completely changes the emotional message. Another deeply underrated gesture is holding her hand with both of yours. Most people casually hold hand without thinking, but using both hands creates a feeling of full attention and emotional presence. In a world where people are constantly distracted, that level of focus can feel surprisingly powerful. It quietly says, "I'm here with you," and that feeling matters more than most people realize. Sometimes the strongest moments happen in silence. Resting your forehead gently against hers for a few seconds creates a sense of closeness that words cannot imitate. It slows everything down. There is no performance, no pressure, just shared presence. That kind of vulnerability is difficult to fake, which is why it often creates emotional trust as much as attraction. The back of the neck is another emotionally powerful place, but timing is everything. A soft touch there can feel comforting and deeply intimate when trust already exists. If done too early or too suddenly, however, it immediately creates discomfort. The emotional context matters more than the touch itself. Even very small movements can create strong emotional reactions. For example, while holding her hand or resting your hand on her arm, a slow and natural thumb stroke can create a subtle feeling of closeness. Because it is soft and unconscious rather than dramatic, it feels genuine instead of calculated. Small, rhythmic gestures often affect emotions more than obvious attempts at seduction. Physical closeness also matters in quiet ways. Gently pulling her slightly closer while sitting together can communicate desire and comfort without saying anything at all. When it feels natural rather than forced, it creates emotional warmth because it suggests that being close to her simply feels right. And perhaps the most powerful gesture of all is the long, unhurried hug. Not a quick or polite hug, but one where both people stay still long enough for tension to disappear and breathing to slow down. A real hug can create calm, emotional relief, and a feeling of safety that goes far beyond attraction. For someone who spends most of life carrying stress or emotional pressure, that kind of moment can feel deeply comforting. In the end, none of these things require money, status, or perfect lines. They require awareness, emotional intelligence, patience, and genuine presence. Real connection is rarely about doing more. It is about understanding timing, comfort, trust, and emotion. And while learning how to create connection matters, understanding when someone is already emotionally open to that connection matters just as much. Timing changes everything.